Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
We start with the wet weather. Rainfall drenching the county this morning. I'm Jim Patton.
I'm Virginia Cha. You can see the radar behind us. We have crews fanned out across San Diego tracking these conditions. 10 News reporters Rena Nakano and Marie Coronel are covering issues in Hillcrest and Mission Valley. Anchor Mary McKenzie is in Del Mar, where there are concerns about the impact the weather may have on cliff erosion. And meteorologist Megan Perry has been with us throughout the day, keeping close watch on what has been happening in real time.
Boy, and it has been coming down out there very, very steadily, and we're going to continue to see that rain for a couple more hours. I'm going to show you what it looks like outside right now. As we look at Pacific Beach, you can see the raindrops covering our camera here, the wind also coming on through, and that cold front is approaching right there. Now, after the cold front passes, the shower activity is going to not become so widespread and so steady. It will be more patchy after that, but we're still in it for right now. Widespread rain impacting the county, heavy rain at times, especially up in the North County, from Camp Pendleton down through Vista and San Marcos, parts of Oceanside and Carlsbad, even Del Mar, out to Julian, seeing some decent rain as well as in Ramona. Mostly light to moderate, but very steady rainfall falling in central San Diego and the South Bay. And because of how steady this rain has been, occasionally heavy, we are in a flood advisory for most of the county until 2:30. That's for streams flooding, street flooding, creek overflows, things like that, which we've been seeing quite a bit of. And then a flood advisory in effect for 4:15 for our mountain and desert areas. So we're going to be seeing those lingering effects then. We will continue to see rain steady for the next hour or two, and then things will become lighter and start to taper off. I'm going to show you that using 10 News Futurecast when I come back with your full forecast. But for now, let's get to 10 News reporter Rena Nakano in Hillcrest, where the rain has been heavy and causing some flooding near the 163. Rena?
Yeah, hey Megan, we're here. We're actually dealing with mudslides right now. We're at 163. The exit is 6th off of 163 South, and you could see a lot of bobcats, a lot of city workers out here trying to control the situation. This is the southbound exit of 163. 2 lanes usually, however, both are blocked off right now. Instead, southbound traffic has now been diverted into the center yellow lane because of the mudslides that happened earlier this morning. You could see crews are now shoveling off the ground, as well as these bobcats just trying to move all of that wet mud away from the scene. Now, we earlier saw a couple of city workers and police officers go up the hill you see there and screaming into that center area that you see there, saying, hello, hello, is anybody in there? Probably because there's a lot of trash and a lot of belongings, what seems to be, right at the entrance of it. We don't know what exactly caused this. Of course, there's a lot of rain that's kind of draining down from Scripps Mercy Hospital and all the way down into the street, which obviously mixed with all of the sediment, which is causing the mud. However, there may be concerns that people are living in this underpass. Again, we're at the 163 South exit at 6th. And you could see lots of traffic is backed up. 2 lanes usually, both are now blocked off. And now the south lane exiters are going up the center yellow lane, as you see here. But right now, Bobcat's working, and their Bobcat operators working around the clock just to get that sludge and the mud out of the way. But yeah, if you're coming this way, do expect delays, because unfortunately this is going to be a long task. We just started seeing the Bobcats try to kind of scrape up at the hill there to get all of that mud out of the way. So if you are coming this way, definitely give yourself extra time, because it looks like traffic is going slowly because of the storm, the flood, and the mudslides. I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Rena. And that's not the only area where we're seeing problems with mud and flooding around the streets. Let's get to 10 News reporter Marie Coronel, who is live in Mission Valley, where crews just closed Avenida Del Rio, which is not unusual, but this is pretty quick, Marie.
Yeah, that's right, Virginia. You can see, as usual, they already have the barricades and the caution tape up because of the flooding on this road. But this wasn't the only problem the rain caused. There were also a lot of car accidents. This is what it looked like from the inside looking out. Windshield wipers going as you tried to navigate through the rain, which became heavy at times. And you can see the effect it had on the flow of traffic. Cars crawling down the 8 as the rain came down hours past rush hour traffic. CHP responding to dozens of calls of car accidents like this one earlier this morning on westbound 8. You see the overturned car. The driver was ejected and landed on the side of the freeway. A Good Samaritan stopped to help, but was then hit by another car. Both drivers were taken to the hospital. And with more rain on the way, the flooding is expected to get worse, and the rain is still causing problems. At last check, CHP, they are still working about 18 car crashes. Live from Mission Valley, Marie Coronel, 10 News.
Marie, thank you so much. And another area of concern has been Del Mar, where a portion of those bluffs collapsed last week. You'll remember during the storm. You see the crews out there. Well, 10 News anchor Mary McKenzie joins us live there where that storm runoff, Mary, continues, but I understand the trains are still moving.
Yes, and the city and the North County Transit District actually want all of this runoff here to be in the storm drain system that actually keeps it off the tracks, which is already somewhat of a precarious situation. But as you mentioned, they are still running. There are sandbags out to direct the runoff into the storm drain, which they've also worked to clear out ahead of this storm. The storm drains actually drain down underneath the tracks and straight down onto the beach without causing further erosion to the cliffs. And for now, trains still running at slow speeds, however. No more than 30 miles an hour here for commuter trains and no more than 10 miles an hour for cargo trains. Even as they evaluate that area of concern that North County Transit District called it, it's very close to where the bluffs collapsed on Friday during that Thanksgiving storm. Sky 10 over the area that gave way less than 2 feet from the rail ties. Trains were suspended while that repair work was done. That's when they found that second area of concern. Engineers now working on a plan to stabilize the bluffs. The long-term plan is to move the tracks off the bluffs entirely. That could take decades, however, and billions of dollars. So in the next 30 years, there are projections they need $60 million perhaps to be sure that the bluffs will last until the tracks can be moved. So again, trains running for now. Things look to be working just fine out here for the time being. We'll keep an eye on it. We're live in Del Mar. Mary McKenzie, 10 News.
Thank you, Mary. Meanwhile, it is not over yet, but Poway officials say the end is in sight for a boil water advisory. But this morning, some concerns are being raised. Now, this advisory, you may remember, went into effect days ago after officials believe rainwater from last week's storm got into the city's clean water supply. City officials say they have located the source of the problem and that they're confident going forward.
We're not exactly sure how it happened, but we've guaranteed that it won't happen again because we've sealed it shut. It's not opening anymore.
They are still waiting for test results of the water before they give residents the all clear. They think those will come by the end of the week. In the meantime, they are telling everyone to continue boiling tap water before using it or use bottled water. Now, you can stay on top of the conditions outside today and get the real-time forecast in your area using our free 10 News smartphone app.
Second phase of the impeachment inquiry underway today with the House Judiciary Committee holding their first public hearing. They will be responsible for drawing up any articles of impeachment. ABC's Serena Marshall joins us from the Capitol, where lawmakers have been questioning legal scholars.
For the third time in U.S. history, the impeachment process of a president underway.
The House Committee on the Judiciary will come to order.
A new round of public hearings in the Judiciary Committee with constitutional scholars testifying on what the founders meant by treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors.
When President Trump invited, indeed demanded, foreign involvement in our upcoming election, he struck at the very heart of what makes this a republic to which we pledge allegiance.
The White House rejected a Democratic offer to participate, but the president's congressional defenders will be in the hearing.
This is not an impeachment. This is just a simple railroad job. And today's is a waste of time.
Today's testimony coming hours after the House Intelligence Committee voted to adopt their 300-page report making a case for impeachment.
This is not about Ukraine. This is about our democracy. This is about our national security.
The GOP rejects the newly released report, which doesn't just implicate the president, but also members of his inner circle, accusing some, like Vice President Mike Pence and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, of knowing of the president's efforts to withhold military aid from Ukraine for political purposes, and others, like Acting Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, of being involved in carrying them out. Concluding, quote, "The evidence of the president's misconduct is overwhelming, and so too is the evidence of his obstruction of Congress." New evidence in the report includes multiple phone calls between the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, and the Office of Management and Budget.
Can you explain why your personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, would need to talk to the Budget Office?
I really don't know. You'd have to ask him. Sounds like something that's not so complicated.
It's unclear who the president's personal lawyer would be speaking to at the OMB or why he'd be in contact with them, but that is the office responsible for putting the nearly $400 million in military aid to Ukraine on hold over a matter of months. Serena Marshall, ABC News, the Capitol.